Yo guys, part 2 of the YouTube special, stress and digestion. So hopefully you've watched the first one, otherwise this one might not make that much sense because they go together. If you haven't watched it, go onto YouTube, watch the first one, then watch the second one. So we're going to go on to digestion. Now, one of the most common sort of, not complaints, but messages I get from clients or questions or queries that I get is, I'm bloated. I can't go to the toilet. I can't stop going to the toilet. I feel uncomfortable. I've got acid reflux. Now, digestion, or your body's digestive system, is probably one of the most sensitive systems within the physique or within the physiological parts of what we do. And if we're not looking after it, we're going to land ourselves in a world of shit. Excuse the pun. Now, what can we do to manage this? What can we do to look out for it? What are the things that are potentially going to be warning signs or warning triggers? Now, what we require from the body is very intense. Now, whether that's a diet, whether that's a massing phase, pushing food excessively high, or restricting calories incredibly low, it's going to put us under high levels of stress. When we're incredibly stressed, 9 times out of 10, the digestive system is going to become downregulated. It's going to become impacted. What do we need as athletes or physique competitors or anyone that's looking to create a physique development? We need energy. We need nutrients. We need food to provide for what we are doing, whether that's energy for the session, whether that's energy and food for recovery, whether it's for performance, whether it's just general day-to-day cognitive function. All of these things are led to digestion. Under high levels of stress, the digestive system is going to become impacted. You'll find that your ability to manage and partition nutrients or digest meals will become slower. You still keep to your normal routine, your every 2 to 3 hour meal. You'll find that you'll become bloated. You'll feel sluggish, feel uncomfortable. Food's just sat in the upper GI because GI clearing has become downregulated. You might find that you're shitting through the eye of a needle, for lack of a better word, or you might find that you can't go to the toilet. These are all implications of stress on the physique and the fact that the digestive system is not in an optimal place. Now, we want and need that to be in an optimal place. It's almost like putting a cork in your petrol tank and then trying to fill it up with petrol. It's not going to happen. It's fucking squirt out everywhere. We want to make sure that everything is running perfectly and efficiently. Now, a lot of people will initially think, something's wrong within food, something's wrong within a meal that they've eaten, and this could potentially be the case. And often, more often than not, what you'll find as well is when that digestive system becomes downregulated, you might find that you develop certain intolerances to foods that you didn't before. So eggs is usually a common one. Oats is another one. Your body will just struggle more to digest those foods because it's downregulated. It's become sensitive. It's become an issue. Now, it's not saying that you have IBS or you need to now go gluten-free. What we need to do is just address our stress factors. When was the last time you had a rest day? When was the last time you had a deload? What is your internal and external stress factors like? What's your environment like? Look at all these factors first. And what you'll probably find is that, sleep might come impaired and diminished. Recovery and performance might become impaired and diminished. And then we can start painting a picture of, okay, well, actually, I haven't had a deload for 6 weeks. Training performance has become slower. I'm not progressing sessions as much. My mood's a little bit off. I'm a little bit snappy. I'm not as hungry anymore. My upper GI is a little bit uncomfortable. I feel a little bit bloated after each meal. And all of a sudden we start painting this picture of, okay, I can start to see where this is coming from now. I can start to see why these things are happening and what this is actually having as a physiological effect on the body. And then we can start paying attention to areas or facets of life that need potential attention more than others. Are there work environments which aren't suiting you? Are your routine working for you? Is training too intense? Are you doing too much volume? Are you training for too long a period of time? Are you eating too close to a meal and not letting your body down-regulate from those high levels of stress? Because these are all things that play a part in it. And you guys are probably sitting there thinking, Jesus Christ, my body's a sensitive soul. And it is. The digestive system is incredibly sensitive. And if we're not looking after it, we're going to run into a world of problems. And this is where potential misguided changes can come in. You know, people will go, right, I feel bloated, I feel uncomfortable, weight's creeping up, I need to mini cut. And then they'll put themselves into more stress because you've gone from high levels of calories down to low levels of calories, more expenditure, more training, more fatigue. And it's just going to add on to this knock-on effect. And I personally believe, anecdotally, that this is where a lot of digestive stress or intolerances actually stem from. It's not the fact that your body has an issue with that food or you're intolerant to that food. It's that you was in a high state or high period of time of stress. There was a certain food that became more sensitive to your digestive system because it was down-regulated, you noticed more bloating. And all of a sudden, you've demonized that food. You've eradicated it from your diet because you think that's potentially the issue, which makes logical sense. But if we put ourselves in a perfect environment of low stress, optimal recovery, optimal volume, optimal digestion as well, because we need to look after our digestion. Are we chewing our food adequately? Are we waiting enough time in between each meal to then have the next one? Are we sticking with foods and sauces that are coming from mixed varieties, or are we eating the same chicken and broccoli like over and over again? Because these are all things that are going to impact your digestive system. And if the answer is yes to all of those and you're doing everything perfectly and you're still having a problem with oats or eggs or whatever it might be, then yeah, potentially that's an intolerance to a food. If you find that under those circumstances, and typically speaking, you tend to find this like within a dieting phase when calories are moderate, expenditure is moderate, training performance is, moderate again, and you're not under high levels of states of stress, most people find their digestive system is best then, and it's because the body is in an optimal place. You're looking after your meal timings, you're looking after your routine, and this is where people get that real like prep focus and everything is being nailed to perfection. Sleep's good, recovery's good. They're planning their day and they're tracking their macros and, they're being optimal with their food choices. There's no coincidence with that. Your digestive system's in an optimal place because you're being mindful, you're being careful with it. I tend to find that it's usually the growth phase or the tail end of a prep where these digestive system or digestive disturbances tend to take place. And the reason that would be is off season, people are pushing calories excessively high. Training performance is excessively high. They start to neglect nutrients such as fruits and veg because they want to volumize their food with carbs. And it's the sea of beige, which I've spoken about before, where they're just focused on protein and fats rather than the micronutrients. So of course your digestive system is going to get down-regulated. Of course you're under higher levels of states of stress. So your digestive system is going to pack a bag and fuck off because it's not interested. The other end of the spectrum in prep would be volumizing foods, where calories are much lower, food volume is much lower, hunger signals through the roof. All we can do is think about food and trying to get as much as possible. So people would tend to reach for the low calorie sources or the sugar-free syrups or the volumizing hacks where you put baking powder and microwave and do all these fancy little tricks. That's going to cause digestive stress. It's going to cause digestive inflammation. The xanthan gums and additional sugars are going to cause and can cause a high level state of stress. I tend to find a perfect example of this is the branded cream of rice compared to rice flour. Now, pretty much exactly the same thing, but the branded stuff has got all the additive flavors, all the additive preservatives, the sugars, the thickening gums. 9 times out of 10, that will cause a lot of digestive problems for clients. If you switch that to just plain rice flour and add your whey in, digestive system is a game changer. You won't have that discomfort, you won't have that horrible upper GI bloating, you won't be shitting through the eye of a needle. And this is something that I've experienced quite a lot with clients, and especially at that tail end of prep. You're in high level states of stress, you're fatigued, your sleep's diminished, you're on massive amounts of cardio, hardly any food. Of course, the body's going to become more sensitive. So if we're not looking after our digestive system, how are we going to expect our body to perform at optimal levels? It's not going to be or it's not going to be able to provide the level of recovery, nutrient partitioning, performance that we want from those levels of physique development, whether that be a growth phase, whether it be a diet. And yes, the emotional side of us will want us to have high levels of food because we think, well, more food is going to keep me fuller, it's going to give me more energy. If your digestive system's in stress and you're bloated and you can't go to the toilet, or you keep going to the toilet, how much of that food is actually being absorbed? How much of those nutrients are being partitioned to the places that you want to go? Same in an off season. If you're cramming 6, 5, whatever thousand calories in, but you're constantly bloated, constantly shitting after every meal, you feel sick, you're burping, you've got acid reflux, that is clear warning signs that your body's going, I'm not interested in this, do something about it. And yeah, you might be on paper getting in that many calories, but you have to ask yourself how much of those calories or how much of those nutrients is actually being utilized for progression, for performance. Are you actually progressing, or are you just gaining weight and getting fat? These are all things that you need to take into consideration. Insulin sensitivity is something that is paramount within physique development. If we're smashing shit tons of calories and you just find that scale weight's creeping up and body composition's getting worse, the likeliness is your insulin sensitivity is not where it needs to be and you're just getting fat. That's not progress, that's regression. And we don't want that at all. So guys, that is the 2-part special of stress and digestion. Hopefully that's helped give you some clarity and also some guidance and advice. As always, much love, stay blessed, and I will see you all soon.